Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first of what I hoped would be Team 3R Launchpad rides on RGT Cycling. But it looks like nobody's decided to join me. Anyway, to explain the premise of these rides, the basic idea is that they're for newcomers to virtual cycling or people that have got injuries, want to do a recovery ride, or basically just people that want to chill out. It's a very easy pace. We'll do the first 15 minutes at 1 watt kilo, and then if everybody's happy, we'll up that to 1.5 for the next 15 minutes. And what happens after that really depends on who's here and what people want to do. We can end it at 30 minutes, or we can continue because I booked 4 laps on the Borrego Springs course. So we'll see what happens. Okay, it looks like somebody's turned up. Hi, Paul. Thanks for turning up, mate. Much appreciated. These are going to feel very easy. As I say, 1 watt kilo is going to feel extremely easy for those of us that are used to pushing out, 2.5, 3 watt kilos. But the idea of this ride is not to go over the stated watt kilo. So you will find me sticking to it. I'll be keeping a close eye on my watt kilo and staying with it. So it looks like at the moment there's just the 3 of us, but let's enjoy the ride. That's the most important thing. Let's just enjoy the ride. I love it when regulars like Paul, support the group riding, because that's what we need, really. We need some of the regulars to help us. Anyway, we should be able to keep it nicely at around the 1-0 for a while. Wow. Okay, folks, like I say, keep it nice and steady. The bots will shoot off the ones that are programmed faster, but we're going to stay. Now it will feel too easy, and if there is just the three of us and you do want to up it to 1.5, we can do so. Okay, where's Rusty? Where's Rusty gone? Can't see you. I can see Paul. And we're doing exactly one, so not like we've shot off from the start. Oh well, I wonder if he's had problems starting. Yeah, that was my idea, Paul. Okay, let's see if my controls work and see if we can find out. Oh, there he is. So he's well up the front. Well, he can choose to drop back and join us, but we're certainly not going to. I'm not going to speed up, Paul. If you want to go on ahead, feel welcome to. So I'm going to be riding this weekend. Slow down just a little bit. Will you come alongside me? I've actually got a bit of hip pain from my efforts last night, because I did find the ride was quite tough. We averaged 2.8 last night, which is going some. This feels nice though. Let's turn on the fan. Ah, that's better. I'm not actually doing, I don't know what's wrong with RGT's cadence. I'm doing nowhere near 110 revs a minute. Nowhere near. Probably doing half that. Maybe a little bit more. So I don't know what RGT's playing at when it's showing my power. Sorry, in my cadence. But it's definitely wrong. Okay, let's flick down, see what's happening behind us. It looks like Rusty has stopped at the side of the road. Now, I don't know what the problem is there. And there's the bots. Now what I'll do next week is I will program them. I thought I'd more or less got it somewhere near. You can see the bots around us now. We're doing round about the right pace. They're just in front of us doing 1.4, so it's all a learning curve really on RGT. We used to run these rides over on Swift, and then we followed it up with, the Launchpad came first, and we followed it up with the True 2, the 2 watt kilo ride. So we did this for 30 minutes, 15 at 1 and 15 at 1.5, and then riders could go on if they felt strong enough to ride the True 2. But you need to be able to ride stronger than 2 watt kilos to take part in the True 2, to be honest, because we have sprints every lap, and that pushes the pace up just above the 2 watt kilos. You can come back to the group because we do slow down to try and keep the average at 2 watt kilos, and I almost invariably always came in bang on the prescribed watt kilo. So my idea is to try a similar thing here on RGT. I hope we can get some people turning up for this ride in future weeks. Yes, admittedly this week it was short notice, so that could explain why there's no takers. But if we can get more people turning up, then this is a really good introduction ride, and there's no reason why we can't go on then to run, the 2 watt kilo afterwards. I'd be prepared to do so if I get the support. But it's a bit demoralizing when you organise rides and nobody's turning up for them. So I'm really grateful to Paul for turning up tonight. He rode with us last night, so his legs are probably as tired as mine are. We worked really hard last night. It was a tough ride. Very enjoyable, but it was a tough ride. And Rusty's still at the side of the road, so either he's got a technical problem or he's decided he doesn't want to ride. I don't know. Perhaps he can tell me in the chat if he's listening. I mean, over on Swift we could get over 100 riders on this kind of ride, and many of the riders that started with the Launchpad, the reason we call it the Launchpad because it's basically an introduction to Swift, or was, for new riders, and I've lost count of the amount of riders that would go on, to get race fit and then go on to become leaders in their own right, leading our Team 3R group rides. I mean, the True 2 over on Swift, which I started way back in 2015, 2016, gets over 500 riders at times, which, is just, you can't imagine that many riders here on RGT. We'd probably crash the servers. But over on Swift, that's a regular occurrence. The rides run on on a Monday, Wednesday and Fridays. And as I say, the Launchpad takes place just before the True 2, about 20 minutes before the True 2 starts. So people have a chance to do the Launchpad, go and have a toilet break, and then come back for the True 2. Now, I don't know how long you want to ride tonight, Paul, so let me know if you're listening. If you're not, I'll put a message in the text. Swifter, yeah. Trust me, it's. I mean, you have to think that Swift was the first, Paul. They were way back when we started in 2015. There were very little competitors, very few competitors, and so Swift had the market. And although it was completely different back then, it was pretty obvious it was going to become a major force in indoor training. I mean, anybody could see that because building a community was what it was all about. That's what we did at Team 3R. We concentrated on building communities. We did a lot of fundraising, many hundreds of thousands of pounds. Our team has raised for World Bicycle Relief. So yeah, it's oh, this is nice though. This is just to get the soreness out of the legs. This is perfect pace. Just, you know, I'm spinning a nice cadence. Feels nice and loose. I'm in the bottom ring. Just feels really nice. Just getting rid of the soreness, and then not sure what I'm going to ride tomorrow. Needs to be something that will fit in with my training. So it will be something. It'll be a race of some kind. I haven't yet looked which one. Flemish for Beginners is my my usual race, but whether I take part is going to depend on the course, which course they're on. You should try some of the races, Paul. I think you'd really enjoy it. And the Flemish for Beginners is capped at 3.2 watt kilo. So while you're always going to get a few sandbaggers, James generally sorts them out and disqualifies them. So anybody doing well over the 3.2 will be disqualified. And it makes it a bit fairer. I started off racing that series and I was coming very much towards the back end of the leaderboard, but stuck with it, learned a bit more about drafting and racecraft, and my last couple of results have been top 10, and I think I can go better than that once I'm back to fitness. So we'll see. I can't compete on the flat courses, which is why I'm saying I'll look and see what the course tomorrow is. If it's got some hills in it, then I'm game. But if it's pan flat-ish, then there's no real point in me taking part because I can't I can't stay with the leaders on a flat course, as was evidenced by the racecraft training on Thursday night. Sorry, Wednesday night, not Thursday, Wednesday night. And you can see that we're at 1.5 now, so I've upped the pace just slightly so that we're sticking to what's advertised. Slightly over, but it will average itself out. So 2 laps should take us about 30 minutes, I reckon, if that's what you want to ride. That would be enough for me, unless you want to go on and ride more, but given that there's only the 2 of us riding, in fact, having said that, we'll just do a check down the course and have a look. There's the bots. As I say, I programmed them wrong this evening. I'll get that right for next week. Make sure that these bots are programmed a bit tighter. I mean, this group's fine. This group is doing perfect pace. I put a notice in the RGT Cycling users group, and a few people said that they'd be interested in a ride of this nature, yet they've not turned up. But hopefully I'll post details of this ride again, and we'll see what happens next Friday. I mean, I put a lot of work and effort into organising the Team 3R group rides here on RGT. So I do need to see some return on that investment. When I say return, I mean return in terms of people turning up. If we're only going to have me and Paul, you know, on what is supposed to be a recovery or beginner's ride prior to racing at the weekend, which is what we're using it for. We're using it as a recovery ride because we're both riding the weekend. Then there's very little point. You know, we can do something else. I'm more than happy to do it if we have a couple of people turning up. But if there's just me and Paul, I'm certainly not going to stay with it, because that's really unfair on me. I mean, I have a family too. By the way, folks, do you like the shirt? THBC is the Hanoi Bicycle Club. I was given this jersey when I passed through Hanoi on my round the world tour. So I cycled around the world, and Vietnam was one of the countries that I spent a couple of months in. A beautiful country, one of my favourites of all the countries I've visited. And funnily enough, this shop, they fixed up my bike for me and helped me out. I got accommodation sorted in Hanoi, met up with the locals, we went on a group ride together. I visited the children's hospital, cancer hospital, and because don't forget, my reason for cycling around the world was because I had cancer myself. So fantastic time. But the guy that runs the Hanoi Bicycle Club and Bicycle Shop is a Spaniard, and he was much the same as me. He set off to cycle around part of the world, and obviously must have fallen in love with Vietnam because he decided to set up shop there. Yes, Paul, my hard efforts as well. I must admit, I never envisaged my Tuesday and Thursday rides being pushed the way they do. But I enjoy it, to be honest. I now look forward to the race pace because we tend to get the same members turning up week in, week out, and obviously many of those riders are getting stronger as we get into the season, particularly people like Kate, who can now rip the legs off both of us. And I also set the bots, the pace partners, during that ride for anybody like Luke, as you've seen, who likes to go off the front and set a nice fast pace. Then sometimes he'll come back and join us. But Luke likes to start fast usually. So I set the bots. I think the fastest is 4.5. So we're not going to get many riders on the Tuesday and Thursday rides wanting to do faster than that as an average. But then they go all the way down to 1 watt kilo, the bots. So, you know, there's something for everybody. They don't have to stay with us as a group, but it's nice when they do, when they make the effort. But sometimes I'm feeling really tired and it's a struggle to stay with the group. Yeah, it's exactly the same for me, Paul. You know, being pushed along by the group and persuaded to just up my game slightly is bringing me back from injury fantastically well. have a look down the field, see what's happening. Up the field, as the case may be. As I say, this is the group that I would normally have been riding with had there been a few more people, I think. So you can see it's being aimed at different watt kilos to try and keep everybody happy. You know, there were riders here that didn't want to ride at our pace. It's something a little bit lower and a little bit higher. But I've narrowed it even more so that we will keep the lower watt kilo, but we'll reduce the front runners a bit. There's too many. I've only got 12 bots tonight, but there's too many running at 2.5, 2.6. They need to be running at 2 maximum, and I'll sort that out for next week. The great thing about the Team 3R rides is because we were basically invited to try and build a presence here on RGT, and I was the one that volunteered from our team over on Swift for a few reasons, but because we're trying to build a presence here, RGT are very much trying to help us by, we don't have to reach the 20 rider limit when the rides get put in the app. You might have noticed that the rides show up in the app without needing 20 riders before they do so. And were it not for that, I don't think we would have been able to keep the rides going. I mean, we've had some really good turnouts. I've had 40 riders on one of the group rides, but that was an isolated incident, and I think there are just too much at the moment going off on RGT to get really big numbers like that anymore. So I'm hoping as we get started this year, we'll start to see more people. And you know the really strange thing, when folks get to riding back outside, you'll actually find many of them, myself included, will want to spend time riding indoors in between the real life rides for training purposes. So people, as I say, myself included, tend to ramp up the training by using indoor cycling when they can get outside. I mean, I don't know if I'll get back to a decent level of fitness, but if I do, then I've definitely got my eye on doing another transcontinental race. And that's the race across Europe, 4,000 kilometers, which you aim to do in anything between sort of like 10 and 14 days. My aim would be to be the oldest finisher of the Transcon, or the oldest top finisher. I don't know. I need to look it up, but that's something in the back of my mind. I don't say it will happen, but it's definitely in the back of my mind. I mean, I used to ride mileage on Swift for fun, 24-hour time trials, of which I was for quite some time the record holder on Swift. I used to ride for fun, along with my mucker Chris Hopkinson, Hoppo. We were the two main long distance cyclists for quite a long time over there. Both of us breaking the Swift indoor record. I did so at the 2016 bike show, Euro bike show, by riding, 1,600 kilometers in a little over 52 hours. And then Chris took the record off me some weeks later, and then the record was taken off him some weeks later, but he's now got it back again. So I've been there on the long distance stuff, and there's no reason, if I can just get through the pain barriers, there's no reason why I can't do it again. Yeah, the strange thing, talking about iron butt, Paul, the really strange thing is that I've never been a cyclist that's really suffered from saddle sores, but I've had quite a few strange techniques to sort of like ensuring that's been the case. I mean, at one point I used white vinegar, which hurt like hell, but it made my skin like leather down there. And so I could sit in the saddle without any fear of getting blocked paws and those awful saddle sores that many people suffer from. And then, of course, I paid particular attention to good cycling shorts and good clothing. I mean, merino wool is the way to go in terms of clothing for distance cycling, both socks and jerseys. I went through a period over on Swift where I just jumped from one challenge to another. We were always looking, Team 3R, we were always looking for something unique or something different to do. I mean, many of my colleagues and myself, we've done Everest, which is basically riding the height of Everest on the bike. But then some of us have gone on to sort of like do multiple Everest because an Everest just isn't challenging enough. I think I did 3 in one session. So 3 virtual Everests. I'm in the virtual Hall of Fame on the Everesting site. But there are colleagues of mine now that are sort of like, riding multiple Everests and multiple challenges for fun. I mean, it's got crazy. Fantastic though, because it's all done for charity, usually for World Bicycle Relief. which is not only the Team 3R charity of choice, but it's also RGT's charity. Many people might not know that, but RGT support World Bicycle Relief, which is why we were so happy to be invited to come over here and try and build a presence. Oh, right, that's the 2 laps done, Paul. What do you want to do? Your call, sir. I'm happy to call it a day if you want. Oh, I don't know. I'm enjoying this. It's not difficult, is it? I mean, it's just... I think it would be nice to get on with something else as well. And I've got to decide which courses we're going to ride in the group rides this coming month. Yeah, one more. That sounds like a good idea, Paul. Let's do one more then. That'll take us to about 40, 50 minutes, give or take. So yeah, why not? But yeah, I've got to basically do the outline for the next month, the group rides and this, for the month of May. I put them in a month at a time so that John, by the way, doesn't have a whole lot of work to do. He can do them all in one go for me. So, and what I generally do is I generally choose the real life courses rather than magic roads. And there's a good reason for doing that. The whole point of me running the Team 3R community here on RGT is to try and get new riders coming across from Swift, or just new riders in general taking part. And the idea of using the real life courses like Cap Formenta, Borrego Springs, Dirty Reaver, etc., is 3 members of RGT can only ride, I think, is it 2 or 3 courses of the live courses, and they can't really choose the set. I mean, they change occasionally, but the set, what people can ride. So the whole point of me doing the Team 3R group rides is so that people can come along for free, because it costs absolutely nothing. So they can come along for free and ride courses that they wouldn't normally have access to. And that's the premise that I run the rides on, apart from obviously getting the Team 3R crew together, which is always great fun. I mean, you have to admit, we have a lot of fun on the team rides. You know, we're always sort of like, we don't make a big thing of it, but there is competition between us. Of that, there's no doubt. And it's nice, it's good bantered fun. I mean, as I say, Kate is getting so strong now. You know, when I first started the rides, she'd be sort of like off the back. Now she's more than capable of pushing on and leaving the group. So fantastic to see. And I love the group rides. I just love the camaraderie. So folks, anybody that's watching this or listening, come on, get your name down. Let's have a few more people turn up next week. I'd hate to have to knock it on the head after only a couple of weeks because we're not getting people turning up. So let's have a show of support. I'm doing these rides for you. And yes, I love them, but they're really for you, the people. And I mean, just look at that Team 3R kit. Best kit on RGT. Although I'm sure Team Lou would have something to say about that. And maybe Team OTR. No, in all seriousness, there's some great kit. It's just nice when people show support by wearing the Team 3R kit because... Oh, you'd like to see event 2? Consider it done then, Paul. I'll stick it in. We've done it, I think, twice as a Team 3R ride, but because it's quite long, I don't tend to stick it in very often. But you're right, let's do it. I'll stick it in early in May. How's that for you? Probably on the Thursday. The Tuesday tends to be the easier of the two rides. So I'll probably stick it in on the Thursday. And then we can do this ride as a recovery the next day. How's that sound? Yeah, I'd agree, mate. I'd agree. It's amazing how you do try to stay on wheels when you're following somebody with the same kit on. It's certainly something I try to do. When I see riders in my kit, I'll try and stay with them. I'll make an extra effort. I mean, that's what I tried to do in the Racecraft series, but I just couldn't maintain that kind of pace on the flat. I think I stayed with it for about 15-20 minutes and I was absolutely cooked. But yeah, it does push you. And one of the things that I'd like to do is I keep pushing myself on Cap 4 Mentor. I mean, these days, when we first started riding that as a Team 3R group ride, we were all round about the hour and we just wanted to break the hour. Well, now we've broken the hour and my next target is 50 minutes. I'm not that far off, but I'd like to do Cap 4 Mentor in 50 minutes. And then obviously later in the season, 45 would be the target. But for now, I'd be happy with 50. So I'm going to stick that in on a Thursday night and we can really push the pace on it. Get Rob to come along and he can drag us along at 50-minute pace. You know, I'll announce it in advance. And of course, there will be bots programmed for those folk that want to go faster and those folks that want to go slower, as always. No, you're well above the 1 hour standard, Paul. Trust me on that. You are. I mean, I love Cap 4 Mentor because it suits me. It's my kind of climb. There's enough recovery between the steep sections, but it's almost all climbing with a little bit of downhill sections. It's a good ride for me. It suits me to the ground, but you'd easily manage under the hour on it, easily. I actually think it's an easier climb than the Stelvio in terms of because you can recover and there's some really fast sweeping down hills on it. It's a fantastic ride, especially if you're in a group, and if you can stay in a group on the downhills rather than be riding solo. And the reason why it's got a special place in my heart is because it was the first Team 3R group ride we did as a recce, and the video is still on my channel, and it's the most watched video on my channel. I think there were 4 of us did it that day, 3 or 4 of us. No, yes, the 4 of us. It was a fantastic ride. We had a great time. But what I did was I did a review of it and compared it to Swift's advertised, if I can pronounce it, advertised. And I sort of graded Swift and I graded RGT. And if you haven't seen the video, go and check it out, because it was so close, the comparison. But I actually gave RGT the edge for various reasons that you're going to have to watch the video to find out. But that's the ride really where I fell in love with RGT and decided to volunteer to be the Team 3R representative. But I like the Stelvio as well, the ride we did the other day. That's a really good ride. But there's no let up on the Stelvio. Once you start the climb, that's it. You're climbing. There's no recovery. So if you do what I did the other day and push a bit too hard at the beginning, first half, you saw what happened. I paid for it at the end. Yeah, Rob for the descents. Well, not just the descent, Paul. Rob's a fantastic pacemaker. If you say to him, you know, I'd like to do such and such in such and such a time, Rob will sort you the pace out. He's an absolute star when it comes to pacing. Not just me, I mean, he's pulled Kate around, he's pulled me around, he's pulled Emily. He'll ride at whatever pace people need, but he'll make you push yourself. He won't allow you just to like sit on his wheel and have it easy. He pushes you. And I love that. Yeah, you're always learning, sir. That's the great thing about this sport, and particularly the indoor side of it. There's a lot to learn. I mean, the racecraft next Wednesday, I'm actually not going to ride it. I'll probably ride something a bit earlier in the day. And the reason why I'm not going to ride it is because I want to explain to folks what's going on. James is putting in an awful lot of effort into these sessions, and by trying to stay with a group, which I'm unable to do so anyway, but also, even if I was able to stay with a group, I wouldn't be able to describe what's happening on the road. And I feel that's letting down other riders and other people. So it makes more sense for me to step back, cover the racecraft training as a non-rider, and then I can switch around. I can show when people are making breaks. I can show when people are closing gaps, cornering, and all this kind of stuff. And I can actually explain to people what's going on. I mean, if you watch some of the really longer videos of the OTR Monument series, race series, where I covered the races, my tactical know-how really came to the fore. I was able to explain to viewers, you know, why James was constantly sort of jumping off the front and his OTR boys were just staying behind with the next competitor. And then why, when they eventually caught him, not the OTR, but the competitors eventually caught up to James, another guy would jump off the front, and so on and so forth, and just explaining the virtual tactics, because it's very, very similar to real life. And I've been riding bicycles for more than 50 years and racing them for almost as long. So I have a lot of experience that I can pass on. And while techniques have changed, you never grow tired of learning tactics and teaching others. I love the sport. It's not the only sport I've been involved in. I'm an avid mountaineer and climber, rock climber, caver. Used to be good at caving in my day. But cycling has always had a special place in my heart, and something which, although I say so myself, I've been half decent at in the past. Okay then, Paul, here we go. I said about 50 minutes, 53 minutes, give or take. So that's not bad. I think we stayed true to the pace, didn't we? There we go. I'm going to... Well, thanks for your company, sir. Really enjoyed tonight. Yeah, you too, Paul. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know what you're up to, but I'll catch up with you. If not over the weekend, I'll catch up with you on Tuesday. Okay. Right, folks. I don't know how many folks are going to be still sat watching this, if any. But if you are, give us a like, a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and take a look at our sponsor's website, Tom Cycle Clothing. And on that note, I'm going to end the broadcast and we'll see you over the weekend. I'll be live streaming something, not sure what, but I've got to do the calendar for the team rides for this month, so for May. So we'll catch up later. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.